Parents like to think that they know everything. But if they aren't keeping up with the latest discoveries, it's likely that they are way behind on the latest and fascinating facts. Check out these 50 facts from TheHub, and you might just learn a thing or two that will surprise even your mom and dad. Make sure you stay up to date with the latest info by subscribing to TheHub and joining our notification squad. If you're the type of person who is always reaching for the stars, you may be interested to know that the word astronaut comes from Greek words meaning star and sailor. The word cosmonaut means universe sailor. Jellyfish aren't actually fish, and most scientists simply refer to them as jellies. These aquatic creatures have no brains, no heart, and no bones. A group of jellyfish is known as a smack. A much larger animal that has all of those things is the Chinese giant salamander, which can grow up to 6 feet long. This earns it the honor of being the largest salamander in the entire world. If you're looking for the ideal time of day to take a nap, scientists recommend doing so between 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. During this hour-and-a-half window, your body temperature dips slightly, making you feel sleepier than normal. The adorable and alliterative Beagle Brigade is used in 21 international airports in the United States. This team of beagles and their human handlers keep an estimated 75,000 prohibited products from passing into the country each year. Komodo dragons are big lizards with an even bigger appetite. They can devour 5 pounds of meat in less than a minute. Instead of going straight to their thighs, any extra fat they consume is stored in their tails. We have heard of captains going down with their ships, but some Viking chiefs chose to have their ships go down with them. When they passed away, many Viking chiefs were buried inside of their ships that they captained during their lives. Apes are so much like us in so many ways, including laughing when they get tickled. Although all apes laugh when they get tickled, TheHub strongly advises against testing this one out yourself. Some scientists believe that dreaming about an activity while you're asleep can actually make you better at performing that activity when you're awake. If you're having a day where you feel slightly less than fabulous, just remember that your hair contains traces of gold. These nanoparticles of gold are also accompanied by zinc and copper. Thinking of making some DIY ice cream? You should know that you need about 1.5 gallons of milk in order to make a single gallon of ice cream. When it comes to strange, life-impacting fears, fear of fun sounds like it would be a real bummer. It's known as cherophobia, and we wonder how often it is accompanied by pteronophobia, which is the fear of being tickled by feathers. Oddly specific. Widely considered to be the most absurd piece of legislation in Britain, it is illegal to pass away in the House of Parliament. Because it's technically a royal palace, anyone who passes on inside of it is entitled to a state funeral. That must be a really fun rule to enforce. Even though you can't escape the sight of the classic McDonald's golden arches by leaving the country, Ronald McDonald is known as Donald McDonald in Japan, because Japanese enunciation doesn't have a clear R sound. In Singapore, he's known as Uncle McDonald. Universal Studios didn't like the name Donkey Kong and sued Nintendo for using the word Kong in the title. The lawsuit concluded with the court ruling that Donkey Kong and King Kong were two very different gorillas. You've heard of 2 people facing off in a duel, but when 3 people are involved, it's called a truel. We think this is definitely a case where 3's a crowd. People in the UK love a brown, sticky food spread known as Marmite. This salty snack was one of the most confiscated items at airports in the UK, resulting in the company making small travel-sized jars for people to take with them. Tiger stripes are more than just fur deep. Their skin is actually striped as well. Their stripes are very distinctive, and it's said that no 2 tigers have the exact same pattern. Otzi the Iceman was discovered by 2 German tourists named Helmut and Erika Simon. After finding this intact Bronze Age mummy in an alpine glacier, Helmut was later found deceased and frozen in the Alps himself. When you're looking for a hotel to book, you might wonder which travel site to use. Well, most of the popular sites such as Expedia.com, Hotels.com, Hotwire.com, Travelocity, and Orbitz are all owned by the same company, Expedia Inc. Bluetooth technology is so commonplace now that most of us don't stop to wonder why the name Bluetooth. It's named after a 10th century Scandinavian king named Harald Gormson, who had a funky tooth that earned him the affectionate nickname Blatand, which translates to Bluetooth. What kind of Christmas would it be without a beautifully decorated tree, presents, and of course, the Christmas carp? In Slovakia, tradition dictates that families keep a carp in their bathtub for a few days before cooking the fish up for Christmas dinner. Hey, that's still way better than Elf on a Shelf. Banks employ the services of therapists known as wealth psychologists, whose job it is to help the wealthiest of clients cope with having just so much money. We wonder how much those therapists get paid. Most restaurants have their own version of the Happy Birthday song, but in 2015, a judge ruled that the copyright would no longer be enforced and people would be free to sing Happy Birthday to their heart's content. Artificial flavor can mimic our favorite natural flavors pretty well, but for some reason they can never seem to get the taste of banana right. It turns out that the artificial banana flavoring we use is based on a type of banana that was wiped out by a plague in 1950. If bug bites are getting you down this summer, try using a bug spray made with this unusual ingredient, catnip. The essential oil in catnip is 10 times more effective at repelling mosquitoes compared to DEET, which is used in most commercial bug repellents. Many businesses spend big bucks on advertising, but in 2014, movie rental and streaming service Netflix spent a total of $0 marketing its DVD rental feature. Despite this service is still used by over 6 million people. Dogs wearing spiked collars may seem intimidating, but those collars were invented to protect the dogs. In ancient Greece, sheepdogs were given these collars to protect their necks from the jaws of wolves. When a human is struck by lightning, a mark appears on the afflicted area that looks like an intricate fern tree. These are called lightning trees or lightning flowers, and they are the result of capillaries rupturing beneath the skin due to the electrical discharge. In 1908, tea merchant Thomas Sullivan decided to pass out some free samples of his tea in small silken bags. His customers were confused and ended up dunking the bags themselves in hot water. It worked so well that they were soon clamoring for more bags from Thomas Sullivan. Nothing brings enemies together like wolf attacks. During World War I, violent incidents known as the Kirov wolf attacks got so out of control that Russian and German forces declared a temporary truce to deal with the issue. The classic pastime of chess boxing. This sport consists of 6 4-minute chess rounds, interspersed with 5 3-minute boxing rounds. Opponents can either lose in the boxing ring or on the chessboard. Armstrong hasn't walked on the moon in quite some time, but his footprints are likely still there. Unlike on Earth, there's no wind or erosion to get rid of them, so any tracks made on the moon will last as long as the moon itself does. Venus is the only planet in our solar system that spins clockwise instead of counterclockwise. Additionally, Venus's retrograde rotation is the slowest in our solar system, and it also appears to be slowing down for unknown reasons. There is a psychological disorder known as boanthropy, in which sufferers believe that they are cows and then try to live their lives accordingly. Is there anything Disney magic can't accomplish? Disneyland is responsible for the invention of Doritos. They originated at Casa de Fritos, where chefs would season, cut up, and fry stale tortillas, and the resulting snack became incredibly popular. A Frito-Lay executive discovered the treat, and the rest is history. You've probably never seen the word nachos written with an apostrophe, but technically it should be. The dish was invented by a waiter known as Nacho, and everyone's favorite pile of chips and cheese was known as Nacho's Special. Capital punishment goes against the Portuguese constitution, and so is life imprisonment. The maximum sentence you can be given in Portugal, regardless of the crime, is 25 years in prison. You might worry about encountering a shark on the beach this summer, but it turns out that your habitual selfie habit is a much bigger threat to your safety. In 2015, 12 people lost their lives in pursuit of the perfect selfie, but only 8 people were the victims of fatal shark attacks. You may know that a group of crows is called a murder, but did you know that a group of bears is called a sloth? Additionally, a group of lemurs is called a conspiracy, and you should hope you never encounter a leap of leopards or a shadow of jaguars. Maine and Alaska are the only 2 states in the US to have never sent a school to the NCAA basketball tournament. Alaska doesn't have any Division I schools, but we aren't sure what Maine's excuse is. Drug testing is commonly accepted for athletes now, but that wasn't always the case. The Mexico City Olympics in 1968 were the first to introduce drug testing, and Swedish pentathlete Hans Gunnar Linjenwall was the first to fail the test. He was positive for excessive amounts of alcohol and was stripped of his bronze medal. Elephants use their trunks for so many things that it's easy to forget just how powerful their sense of smell is. They can sniff out water sources from up to 12 miles away. When they seem to be absent-mindedly swinging their trunks, they're really constantly detecting new scents and information. You probably know that blue whales are the largest creatures on Earth, but they are so enormous that their tongues can weigh as much as an elephant, and their hearts can weigh as much as a car. Uganda has the youngest population in the world, with 78% of its citizens being 30 years old or younger. 52% of the population hasn't yet celebrated their 15th birthday. Your lungs are filled with over 300 million capillaries. If you were to stretch them out end to end, they would reach across the entire United States, although we definitely don't recommend trying that out. Your blood vessels laid out in a similar manner would stretch even farther, about 60,000 miles. That's enough to go around the entire Earth almost 2.5 times. All animals with eyelids blink in some way. Some creatures, such as hamsters, wink instead of blink by closing only one eye at a time. Different animals blink different amounts, with Sudanese monkeys blinking frequently, rats blinking when they sneeze, and goats blinking about every 30 to 60 seconds. Scientists aren't sure why babies blink so much less than adults. They typically blink about twice per minute, while adults blink about 15 times per minute. Some people believe that because babies sleep so much, their eyelids are already naturally lubricated. When traversing the waters of Florida, alligators will give the right of way to manatees when the two come into contact with one another. Manatees have been known to gently bump alligators out of their way to get them to move. We bet you can't wait to run off and tell your parents some of the facts you've just learned from our video. Before you do so, be sure to like this video and subscribe to The Hub for more awesome content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.